This is the 12.3-inch infotainment system that you're going to find inside of the Hyundai Ioniq 5. And it's going to be the same in a number of other Hyundai vehicles. There's one difference, though, in that this is the N trim level of the vehicle. And that's why you've got this dedicated N mode, which gives you a boatload of different options. Torque distribution, N pedal, race mode, drift optimizer, and so many other things. I'll touch on this one briefly, but this is specifically going to be for the N version of the vehicle. But back to the home screen, along the very top, you've got this icon. You can look at profile settings. So if you've got multiple people driving the vehicle, there are technically 3 different options that are available. So you've got 3 unique ones there. You can only have the maximum of 3 as well. So it's 2 primary and then the 1 guest profile instead. But one of the big benefits of having these profiles set up is that it's going to remember all of your presets, all of your saved addresses, and all of your basic settings and things like that. So it is useful if you've got multiple people driving. From there, you also saw there's the option for online manual. So you can click there and then scan using your phone. So scan the QR code in order to gain access to the digital owner's manual. You've got the date and time along the very top, your current connection level, and then the current time. And then you can also swipe down for this quick launch tray instead. I love that Hyundai's introduced this. Really straightforward. You can toggle the display off, pulling down. You can do a split screen. There's illumination, so you can adjust the screen brightness. You can tweak the volume for navigation, for beeps and sounds, turn it into a quiet mode, which means that it's only going to play through the front speakers. So audio will only play through the front speakers instead. You can also hit the gear icon in order to be able to adjust it out. So if you wanted to add in more options, you could do that. If you wanted to adjust the beeping out, you could do that. Tones, let's see, connection, position. I'd say those ones probably make the most sense. But the beeping that we're getting here, if that drives you nuts, you can adjust it. You can also say whether or not you want it louder, quieter, whatever the case may be. And swipe up from there. And then this is going to be the basic home screen that you're met with. Swiping across gives you a series of other options available. Starting off with factory navigation. So you've got a boatload of different options available, but on the outside, you've got the option of searching. So you can search by GPS coordinates. So it's latitude first, longitude second. You can search by point of interest icons, look for EV charging stations and things like that. So nice and Canadian of me. Let's go for a Tim Hortons. You can see there a ton of options available. I'm going to choose one that's a bit further away. There we go. You can see the route, save the location, point of interest icons that are nearby. So if we look at the route options now, it's going to load up and give us different options in order to get there. So if there was one that was quicker, it would give us that option. So that's just the more realistic route, but it's going to, it's going to take us that same way. But if there were different route options that were available to get to that end destination, it would show you those different options. You can add a stop in between. So let's say if we wanted to add a stop and maybe we want to search for EV. There we go. So we've got a bunch of different charge stations that are available. Actually, let's just search for a charge station, see what's close by. Right, perfect. Literally right next to me here. That's amazing. So we're going to click through on that one first. Okay, and okay. There we go. So we've got the different options that are available. We look at the route. And there we go. So it's the reason why it's saying that it's going to take 7 hours is because I'm currently at 50% charge. So what it's taking into account is stopping, charging to full, and then taking us to the next destination from there. You can see that from there, we can do a pinch to zoom out. If you wanted to check out your full route, circle back in on yourself. You can change up your heading, get rid of volumes and beeps. So if you didn't want turn-by-turn directions, if you didn't want beeps and sounds as well, you can have it auto zoom in or out. You can adjust the scale too if you wanted to. You can then click in order to get rid of that icon. You can swipe across to get rid of that split screen or go back to a split screen instead. And there you can go home. You can hit this icon to look at traffic information if it was available. You can reroute, look at your EV range. So this essentially is where you can go based off of your current charge. So I'm at 50% charge. This is everywhere in Ontario that I'm able to go based off of my current charge. And back from there, let's see. Route, EV range, route options. If you wanted to do things like look at the fastest and most economical route, so things that we've already seen. Look at some additional route options and which way are they showing up. Perfect. And from there, you've got nearby info, traffic information, save, and then a boatload of navigation settings as well. So navigation, let's see, what do you want to show? Do you want to have the vehicle speed show up, yay or nay? What point of interest icons do you want showing up as you go? Basics for guidance information, so route options. Nothing exciting there. Cumulative versus interval distance, so it's how far until the end destination versus guidance location. Nothing exciting there. Compare routes. Nothing overly exciting in guidance. Map mode. You can choose whether or not you're 2D, 3D, etc. I tend to find the 3D looks nicer, but that's a matter of preference. Moving back, you can adjust the font size as well. A little bit of a change there. And then the map color. Do you want clean, classic, dark, etc.? Actually, the classic dark looks pretty nice. Or you can have more like a minimalist design instead. Navigation features, previous destinations. Do you want to save previous destinations? This is a press vehicle, so I'm definitely saying no to that one. From a general safety perspective as well, it might be worth it to also say no to that one. At least that way your previous destinations aren't saved. And then your GPS information. So if you're, you wouldn't go off-roading in this one, but if you're on a trail, you get lost, need to call a tow truck, you can give them your exact GPS location there as well. You can button press there to get to your online manual, or press back home, click back into your map, and we still have that route going. But one nice thing is that since this one has the available head-up display, you can also see your turn-by-turn directions right inside of that display. So you can see current vehicle speed, what safety information is enabled, and then you can, right at the very top there, you can also see what's going on with your turn-by-turn directions, which is pretty neat. So if you didn't have the head-up display, that just wouldn't show. But you can click there in order to see your route, recalculate. You can add an additional stop if you wanted to. Back out, you can exit out of the route. And it's that simple doing it. If you hit search, previous destinations there, you can exit out, get rid of all of the previous destinations that you've saved or that you've gone to. But that's using factory navigation. It's really straightforward to use. And like I said, you can search by GPS coordinates and then point of interest icons, things like that. And back home. You can hit there in order to look for available charge stations based off of your current location. You can see there, different options. There we go. So you can see what's close by to you based off of your current position, and then the route are charging stations that are available based off of your route there. You can exit that out if you want to, so route guidance has been canceled. You can also add in a home or a work address. And one of the big benefits there, you can hit the voice command prompt on the steering wheel and you'd be able to say navigate home, navigate to work, and it would navigate to whatever addresses are saved there. I mean, obviously it doesn't have to be your home or work address. You can set up unique ones if you want to. From there, you've got all of your different radio stations. So AM, FM, Sirius XM's available. All of these options available. There's also support for USB as well. And it's strictly going to be USB Type-C, but it's available. And if we look, so hold on, I'll show you that in a second. So AM, FM, Sirius XM, woo, great song. But all of the available stations. So if you're new to an area, you're not sure what's available, click in, it's going to take a second to load up. And then you can also save stations. So if you wanted to, you could go down, you're just hitting the star icon to save whatever stations that you'd like to. But that's going to be all of your favorites stations there. And as you can see, there were some pre-done stations here as well. So some Sirius XM stations, but it's a mix of AM, FM, Sirius XM. You can deselect it that way if you wanted to get rid of a station. On Sirius XM, you can also look for music, sports, news, talk, so essentially all of your different category views instead. Straightforward. From there, you can hit the little hamburger icon, and that's going to give you a few other options. You can list your favorite channels first, so if you save channels, it'll show it. You can enter a channel name. You can look at sound settings, which we'll get to later on. Straightforward. Back, all channels, Aussie, little crazy train maybe. All right, there we go. And from there, if we hit on FM, you can scan, you can refresh as well. So if you wanted to scan to see what stations are available, it takes a second before it moves to the next station. Or you can also refresh. So again, you're new to an area, or you're not sure what stations you can listen to, refresh it that way. You can manually tune to a station this way. It's kind of neat. You can also, where'd we go here? There we go. Click back and enter station, sound hound settings, nothing exciting there, and then back to your sound settings. But that's using the basics for AM, FM, Sirius XM. If you jump on the bottom here and hit this icon, that's going to give you a few more options. So if you want more of those relaxing sounds instead, you've got that available. Bluetooth audio if your phone was connected. And then there's also USB music. So if you had USB music on the USB stick that you've plugged in, you can launch that. And it's strictly going to be USB music. So this thing does also have, it's not going to show. It's got a video on it, but video files. But as you can see there, screen doesn't support video playback. But that's using your audio. Actually, what we're going to jump into, let's go to sound settings here. You've got so many different options available. You can adjust your balance and fade by going left and right this way. You can also do a drag and drop this way if you wanted to focus it on one, or do a fine tune there instead, if you'd like to. Actually, let's circle that back in. From there, you can also adjust your treble, mid-range, bass. This is brutal. You don't want it sounding like this. That bass is way too high. So bass, we're going to crank it by like 3 or 4 points. Treble, I'm going to drop it by a point or 2. And in my opinion, in the Bose audio system, this is going to sound really, really good. Guidance options. What do you want for your guidance volumes and active sound? Because this is an electric. You've got the flexibility. Yeah, you can kind of hear it there. That's subtle. Yeah, very subtle. But you've got the flexibility of adjusting the sound for the vehicle as well. So there are 3 unique sounds that are available. They're very subtle on the inside. You can hear them, but it also plays on the speakers on the outside of the vehicle as well. Radio noise, nothing exciting. All of your driver assistance settings. You can adjust all of these volumes out. So haptic warning's an interesting one, because if you get any sort of notification, like you're changing lanes or somebody beside you, you're going to get a little bit of a steering wheel vibration. It's almost like you're running over rubble pavement or there's something wrong with your alignment. It's not the case. Driving safety, park safety priority. So if you do start to change lanes and somebody else is in the lane, if you've got audio cranked, it's going to lower the audio for you to hear what's going on. And then parking priority. So as we, are we gonna, no, never mind. Okay, I thought I was gonna trip the front counter there, but parking safety priority. If you had your front sensing, rear parking sensing system, whatever the case may be, if that comes on, it's gonna lower all of your volumes as well. And then you can set individual volumes for both Android Auto and Apple CarPlay for media, phone, ringtone, navigation, and things like that. And that's one thing I love about Hyundai vehicles is how much you can customize the audio. But that's the basics of using maps and audio. I'll get to N mode last. Next up is going to be your battery. Oh, is that it? Really? Oh yeah, we'll do phone after that. Yeah, so next up is going to be your electric vehicle settings. And you've got a ton of options. So you can see where the nearest charging station is based off of which information or what you've got going on. So I've currently got the AC going, but if I were to turn it off, I would get slightly more fuel economy in comparison, or fuel economy, I should say slightly more range in comparison. And then one other thing, if you're in different drive modes, so as you move into eco versus normal versus sport mode, you'll also see that that's going to adjust out the total range that you've got as well. So we're 200 in sport mode, but as you move through, so you go to eco mode, that's where you're going to get the best possible range inside the vehicle. You don't have quite as much fun with it, but if you're looking for a car to get the best possible range, that's what you're going to go with. So making sure that you don't have your AC going in the eco mode, best possible economy. You can swipe across to get to a boatload of other info, but first, you've also got your little shield along the top there. And again, that's going to let us know exactly where we can go based off of our current range. And back to EV and swiping across to a boatload of other settings. So you can see right now, I currently have 51% of the charge left. You can see where the nearest charging station is, and you can click through in order to actually get to that station too, which is kind of neat. For charging, when you charge, actually this is kind of interesting looking through. We'll get to full charging settings in a second, but I love the graphical outline here. So you can kind of jump into all of these other options, battery conditioning. You can see how much you're actually using for the vehicle as well. So based off of drivetrain, obviously you're using the most. Electronics, so things like your speakers, if you have phones connected, things like that. And how much battery usage has been because of your climate. And from there, you can click along the very bottom. So there are a series of other options here. How much electricity are you using? What economy have you been getting? When you're plugged in, tons of different options available. So This one, next departure time. So if you're plugged in, this is ideally where you're going to precondition the cabin. So if you leave at 7 o'clock in the morning on Monday to Friday, you can have the vehicle automatically precondition it for you to come on nice and hot, nice and cold, whatever the case may be. You can have the windshield defroster going as well. So wintertime, very, very useful setting it up this way. And you can have 2 individual ones set up. So you're leaving to go to work, leaving to come home, whatever the case may be. Your charge settings, you can schedule charging for certain times as well. So you can prioritize strictly to charge during off-peak hours. You can only charge during off-peak hours as well. And then you'd also have the flexibility of adjusting when you're actually going to be charging up. So if you only want to charge up between 7 o'clock and 7 a.m. when you're going to get cheapest electricity rates, you've got the flexibility to do that. Or you can say only charge when you're going to have off-peak hours, so when you're going to have the cheapest electricity. With the charging current, so you do have fast charging available inside of the Ioniq 5, but some charging stations, I've had people in other electric vehicles say that the charge stations don't work, and that could be because of the charging current. So if you're plugged into a charge station and you find you're not charging up, tweak the charging current to either 90 or 60% of the allowable maximum. It might take a little bit longer to charge, but it's also guaranteed pretty much to charge at that point as well. And then, do you want to have the charging cable locked all the time, strictly while charging, or never locked? You'll obviously want to do that strictly while the vehicle's charging. And then you've got a series of other options. Charging limit. So typically you want, depending on when you're going to be using the charge or using the range. So if you're going to be using the range the next day or the same day, it's fine to charge you 100%. General rule of thumb, you want to charge between 80 or 90%. And that's going to be the same here. So I guess even that DC supercharging, so fast charging, you should realistically only charge to about 80%. If you're in a bind, you can go to 100. And then AC charging, so at home, whether that's level 1, level 2, whatever the case may be, you can also charge up to 100 or down to whatever level you'd like to. Electricity usage, so V2L is your vehicle to home. So you've got the flexibility of using this thing as a mobile generator essentially, but you can have it continue to draw power until a certain percentage. Battery conditioning is available for optimal performance. You can put the vehicle into utility mode as well. So if you're going to be glamping, you can put it into a utility mode instead. Smart regenerative braking is available as well. So this essentially is going to be how quick or how fast do you want the vehicle to decelerate when you take your foot off of the pedal. So when you take your foot off of the gas pedal, or the accelerator, I guess I should say, how fast or slow are you slowing down? You've also got your paddles. So you've got your minus on the right-hand side, plus on the left-hand side. And that's essentially going to help you out with the regenerative braking side of things as well. You do also have the flexibility of being able to set up one pedal drive, but if you want to walk through on the steering wheel as well as the cluster as well, you'll find that down in the description of this video. When you actually go to plug in, do you want to have a voice letting you know that you're currently charging or charging has been started? Do you want that off? Do you want a low, medium, or a high notification voice? And back home, so that's the basics. That's everything you need to know about charging. Next up is going to be adding in a phone.
Device in order to search. On your device, select the name that matches vehicle name on the screen.
So on your phone, you're going to be looking for the Ioniq 5N or Ioniq 5 or whatever you've named your vehicle. Pins match up, so we're going to pair. Do you want to allow contacts and favorites to sync up? This is not my car, so I'm going to say no to that one. Obviously, if it was yours, you could say yes to it, but you can see there, fully connected. If you said yes to your downloads and contacts and things like that, they would show up, but you've got your dial pad there.
Download was unsuccessful.
It said unsuccessful because I said no on my phone. You can see the current connection level and the battery level on your phone as well. And one cool thing is that you also do have wireless Apple CarPlay. So one nice thing is that the vehicle is technically backwards compatible, so you could use a USB cable if you wanted to, but the car also has a wireless charge pad, so you could use wireless CarPlay while you're also wirelessly charging. So we'll take a second here to connect. I wonder, we're gonna have to go back home. Bueller? There we go, CarPlay and connect. And look at this, stretched beautifully across the screen there. So on the outside of CarPlay, you've got the current time, your connection level, battery level, which map was open last, which audio application was open last, which miscellaneous application was open last, and then you can either go to your icon view, home screen, and then you can swipe across from there as well. So your home screen, you've got your map, search, and then if you've got an upcoming event, it's going to let you know. So I need to rock and or roll in about an hour. And then from there, you've got all of your icons, and the screen is very, very responsive. On the map side of things for CarPlay, it doesn't matter if you're in Google Maps, Apple Maps, or Waze. There's no pinch to zoom capability, so you have to scroll in and out this way. Apple Maps is good. Google Maps is better, in my opinion anyways, but you've got that option, search for addresses. On the the Google Maps side of things, you can look at route options to avoid highways, toll roads, and ferries. You can change the map color, look at maps, have your traffic showing up, north up, etc. You can also zoom in and out this way if you want to. So Apple Maps is okay. Google Maps is better. Waze, in my opinion, I think is the best. And there are a few reasons why. Like, it works the exact same way as Apple Maps and Google Maps work, with one exception. So if we zoom out for a second, of course, there's nothing on the screen here. Okay, but typically people will mark things on the route as you go. Yeah, because you can see construction's been marked off. You can see other Waze users as well, red light cameras, things like that. So if there are police that are there, if there's construction, they're marked right on the map, and it gives you a heads up, lets you know, and then it's automatically going to flick you into a faster route as necessary. You can also mark things off yourself. So if there's traffic, if you see a police officer, there's crashes, hazards, and things like that, you've got the flexibility of letting other people know. I love using Waze. It's my go-to application. And then there are a series of other ones like audio. You've got YouTube Music. You've got VLC as an option if you have music on your phone. You can stream Bluetooth audio if you have music on your phone. Look at podcasts and things like that. There are a ton of different options available. Spotify is available as an option too. Hoopla is a library app, so you can listen to ebooks. Like I said, tons of options. But one downside, that you can't do video playback on this screen. It's one thing that I would like to see with CarPlay, but it's not available as of right now. You've also got the flexibility of doing a push and hold in order to be able to activate your Siri assistant there if you'd like to. But yeah, it's straightforward. It's a really useful system. And because we're in an electric, you've got all of the different charge apps that are available as well. So Flow, ChargePoint, whatever the case may be. You also have the flexibility of customizing the screen a little bit. So if you go to your settings, you're going to go General, CarPlay, you're going to find your vehicle, you can forget it, you can customize, and then make sure that CarPlay is turned on there. And this one essentially means that the phone is going to work for CarPlay while the phone is locked. But if you're running into connectivity issues and it's not working for you, I've put together a little walkthrough video explaining how to fix CarPlay. You can find that down in the description. But we're looking at customizing here. So let's say if you love listening to your podcasts and you want to make sure that Waze is along the very top, you've got the flexibility to do it. If you want to remove icons, anything with a minus next to it, you can you can actually technically delete from the screen. They're still saved on the bottom though, so you could add them back in there if you wanted to. But if you've rearranged this too much and you don't like what you've done, on the phone on the top right side, you can hit reset, and that's going to bring you back to the factory default screen there instead. Straightforward. You can push the Hyundai icon there in order to get out of CarPlay, hop back through. Down the center, you've also got the home button that you can push in order to jump back into your home screen, back into CarPlay from there. And then if we go into Setup, Device Connections, you can see that I'm currently connected to the iPhone for CarPlay. You can deselect that if you want to and just be hooked up over Bluetooth for your phone calls, for audio, and then for Apple CarPlay. So I know that's a little bit of info, but that's how you set up Apple devices inside of the Ioniq 5. Setting up an Android device is the exact same process. So if you weren't on this screen, let's say we're back on the home screen there, all you're going to do, go into Setup, Device Connections, and Add New.
Turn Bluetooth on in your mobile device in order to search.
You're going to pull this up and looking for Ioniq 5. Perfect. And pins match up, so we're going to hit OK there. Perfect. And we're going to connect. Perfect. There we go. Oh, it's also asking me on the phone here, do I want to connect? So we're going to connect through to that. And perfect. Look at that. Android Auto is now fully connected. Perfect. And it's wireless as well, which is even better. So you do have the flexibility of being able to hook up over USB if you want to, but you can go wireless now. So it's like, why wouldn't you? And the reason why that's saying no is because I've been saying no to the settings that pop up here. But like I said, if this is your car, you could say yes, and it would connect all of your settings there. But very similar to the iPhone side of things, Android Auto is straightforward. So you've got your current, once that goes away, current time and connection level there. And then you've also got your map, your basics for Google there, phone, your voice assistant. You can set it up that way. You can also push and hold the voice assistant button on the steering wheel in order to activate it that way instead. Then you've got your basic split screen, but you can also hit there in order to go full screen instead. So if you prefer that full screen map, you've got the flexibility to be able to do it. You can search for addresses because this is Google Maps. You can also look at route options. So if you wanted to avoid things like highways, toll roads, things like that, you've got that flexibility. You can change up your heading there as well. Straightforward, I like that. It's nice. And then the best part, full pinch to zoom capabilities inside of Android Auto. I wish that came to Carplay, but you've at least got it available on the Android Auto side of things, which is great. You can hit the icon there to get a split screen. You can go back this way in order to get to this icon view instead. And as you can see here, Waze is on the phone and it's also working. But if you've got Waze installed on your Android device and it's not showing up, I put together a little walkthrough video explaining how it's done. And you can find that walkthrough video down in the description. You can push there to get back to the screen or back there for your full screen instead. And then on your phone, if you go into Android Auto, so you're going to search for Android Auto, look for your Android Auto settings, you've got a ton of options available. But the one that we're looking for is Customize Launcher. And that gives you a boatload of options. So if we go into the icon view, you'd have the flexibility of being able to adjust this out. So you can do a drag and drop, but it's not dynamic the same way it was on the iPhone side of things. So if you want these changes to come into effect, hop back into your setup screen. You're going to go to Device Connections, disconnect from Android Auto, reconnect to Android Auto, back, and the changes that we've made have now come into effect. And it's that easy being able to do it. If we head back home for a second there, back into Device Connections, you can see there both phones are connected. So you can do a drag and drop to see who gets connection priority. But one nicer thing is that you can have one phone hooked up for phone calls, one phone hooked up for audio. So you can do a mix and match this way. It's either Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, not both, but you can do a mix and match of these other settings instead, which is very, very useful. You can also delete devices, so you can mark all, delete, and yes. And 3, 2, 1, we are now fully disconnected from the vehicle. And it's that easy setting up Android and iPhone devices inside of the Ioniq 5. Moving into Bluetooth prompts, nothing exciting there. This is where you go to change the vehicle name. So you're going to go to Device Connections, Bluetooth System Info, Vehicle Name, and then adjust out whatever name you want to. So when you're connecting over Bluetooth, that's the car name that you're going to be connecting to. And there are different options for Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, so enable, disable, whatever the case may be. Now, with enabling, disabling, so if you're plugged in over USB and you don't want to be charged, or you don't want to have Android Auto working or Apple CarPlay, you can fully disable it there if you'd like to as well. You can push there to generate a new Wi-Fi password or pull up your digital owner's manual again. And that's adding in a phone. You've got your phone projection. That would be Android Auto or Apple CarPlay if they were connected. You've got voice memos available. You can see weather. There are a series of setup options, which we'll touch on in a second. But before we get there, valet mode lets you lock out the screen if you're using a valet driver. There's basic vehicle diagnostic information, maintenance information, look at HD radio data. This is nothing overly exciting there. And then notifications if they were available, but I don't think. Yeah, no notifications. And your online manual. And then from there, you've got a series of different setup options. And one nice thing, I love it. So you've got a little icon view, but as you hop inside, it then is going to give you a different icon view or a list view instead. So you can hop into all of these options by going to your list view if you want to. But let's dive in, start off with driver assistant settings. So we're going to go driving convenience. And the first one is going to be smart cruise control. So there are a series of different buttons on the steering wheel that you're going to utilize in order to use the smart cruise control system. So you can toggle it on that way, increase, decrease speed, and there's a distance indicator. But if you want to walk through on the smart cruise, you'll find that down in the description of this video. But you've got basics for your smart cruise settings. So how close or far are you away from the vehicle in front of you? How fast do you want the vehicle to accelerate? How fast do you want it to react if there's somebody in front of you? One downside of the Smart Cruise is that you don't have the flexibility of turning into traditional cruise either. So it's strictly the Smart Cruise. But once you get the hang of it, it is such a cool feature. Driving safety gives you a boatload of other options. So forward safety, if the vehicle recognizes a potential collision, it's going to automatically brake for you. It can also, there we go, cross traffic alert. So if you're going to pull out of a spot and somebody's perpendicular from you from the left or right, it can let you know. Blind spot view monitor is a really cool feature. So if your vehicle's enabled with it, and if you hit the turn stalk, left or right inside of the cluster screen, you'll be able to see what's going on in your blind spot. It is such a useful feature, but you can also toggle it off. Blind spot safety. If somebody enters the blind spot on either side of the vehicle, it's going to highlight in order to let you know. And safe exit, nothing exciting there. Brake mode, normal versus sport. Do you want to have it more of like, this is so cool. So the NE shift, since this is the N mode of the vehicle, so it gives you essentially the sound of a traditional combustion engine. So an 8-speed automatic transmission as you go to speed up. And then very subtle, can I turn that up? No, okay. So you can't turn that up, but you do have the flexibility of, that's really cool, having more of like a traditional internal combustion engine sound. And you've got a series of different sounds there that are available. Climate settings gives you a ton of options, nothing overly exciting. Like things like recirculate air, defog, defrost, and things like that. I always just recommend keeping them on. Climate features, same idea. Lights gives you a few options. So with ambient light, you can adjust the brightness. You can link it to your drive mode if you want to. So as you adjust your different drive modes on the steering wheel, it's automatically going to change up the interior light inside the vehicle. But if you toggle that off, you can then also adjust and go to up to 64 individual colors. So if you wanted to customize the ambient light, you've got the flexibility to be able to do that and really make it your own. One touch turn signal. So if you hit the turn signal, do you want 1 flash, 3, 5, or 7? When you walk up to the vehicle, do you want to have your mirror lights turn on? When you go to lock the vehicle, do you want the lamps to stay on for 15 seconds or turn off right away instead? High beam assist is an interesting one. So with the high beams actually turned on, so well, if you're in the auto mode, what's going to happen is the lamps are automatically going to come on. And if the vehicle recognizes somebody's oncoming, it's going to dim the high beams for you before bringing them right back on again. But you need to be in the auto mode in order for that to be able to work. Do you want your interior lights on all the time? Yay, nay. When do you want the vehicle to automatically lock or unlock the doors? So safety, you can have it go for park, etc. But that's going to be a matter of preference. Do you want the vehicle to automatically unlock as you approach, as long as you've got the key fob on you? Do you want to turn the power liftgate on or off? And then do you want it to open fast or slow instead? And then how high do you want it to open up? So, I mean, honestly, full open would make the most sense unless your garage is really low or there's a lot of overhanging things. But you can also user select your own unique height if you'd like to. And then there's also the option for smart liftgate. So you can utilize the key fob in order to open up the trunk without touching it. So let's hop outside. I'll show you how these two options work. You want to make sure the vehicle's locked first. You have to get about 10 to 15 feet away for about 10 to 15 seconds or so. And as long as you've got the key fob on you, you're just going to walk up to the back end. Up it goes. So, smart trunk, very, very useful feature. And same idea, just button press in order to be able to close. The other one to point out is using the key fob with a pretty neat trick. So you're just going to push and hold the unlock button on the fob. Watch this. So yeah, it unlocks the windows, or I should say power unfolds, but look at that. Opens up the driver's side windows and the passenger side windows, so first row windows on both sides. So push and hold is going to be able to roll them down. If you release, it'll pause it part way. So those are really cool. I love the remote window control. Being able to roll the windows down is so cool. Digital keys that are available. Unfortunately, I can't show you how to set up smartphone as a key, but I will link to a Hyundai video down in the description that walks through how it's done. It's straightforward. It's just downloading the Hyundai app and then connecting your vehicle. There are a series of different convenience settings. Rear occupant alert. So if the second row doors are opened up and you go to turn the vehicle off, it's going to let you know on the cluster screen to check the back seats. Let's see. Do you want to get an indicator light with a wireless charge pad? So if you've got a phone on the wireless charger, you want that showing up, yay or nay. Rear wiper when in reverse. So if you've got your front windshield wipers going, put the car into reverse, it's automatically going to turn on that rear wiper for you as well. Then driver safety, I think that we hit. Do we get all of these options? Yes, we hit driver safety, speed limit. Do you want a speed limit assist? Yeah or nay? So it is really easy to go fast inside of an electric. That's why I always recommend making sure you're using the adaptive cruise system. But with speed limit assist, what that's going to do is if you've got your cruise control going, let's say at 100, and the speed drops from 100 to 80, it can automatically lower the speed for you. It can give you a warning and let you know. It can give you that information, or you can just toggle it off as well. And then there's also a speed offset. So if you are okay with going up to 10 kilometers over or under the speed limit, you can have it set there as well. Driver attention warning is a neat one. So if you come down to a stop and the vehicle in front of you has started driving away, you'll get a little notification in the cluster screen that that leading vehicle has departed. And parking safety. Let's see here, nothing overly exciting there. And back. Volumes, which we've already seen these volume options. So we've gone through the basics there. All right, next up, so you've got your active design, climate, and things like that. So again, you can go to a list view, or you can do the icon view to hop into that individual setting as well if you'd like to. And moving back into, where are we now? Navigation settings, I guess. Yeah, because we've already done EV settings at first, because there are all of the different EV settings that are available. So utility mode, smart regenerative braking, etc. Navigation settings, which we've already seen all of these options. There aren't a ton of exciting ones you need to worry about here. Changing the font size, the map color, etc. Different sound settings that are available, which again, we've already seen. So adjusting the treble, mid-range bass, the tone, positioning, etc. All of your device connections. So if your phone is connected, you'd have your Android Auto, Apple CarPlay options, user profiles, which we've already seen. So if you've got multiple people driving the vehicle, you've got the flexibility of selecting. And again, it remembers all of your settings. Even having this set up for your own personal comfort is the best way to go for sure. Voice recognition. So this is the steering wheel button. So that's your voice assistant there. So there are a ton of different options that are available, but you push there. When you're hooked up through Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, you do a longer press and hold to activate that assistant. But if you do a short press, that's going to bring up the assistant there instead. But
here are some
there are
commands.
So many different things that you can do. You can open the tailgate from the inside. You can turn on the heated seats, heated steering wheel. There are so many different things that you can do. So one thing that I recommend is when you first get your Hyundai is go through all of the different options and figure out what you can do, because there are, like I said, so many different things that are available. And reduce the number of prompts. So let's go. Tune to 94.9 FM. It just does it. So rather than telling you that it's going to do it with reducing prompts, it just does whatever change you asked for. Screen layout gives you a series of different options available as well. So this is specifically for the cluster screen. So you've got your classic versus simple. And because this is the N version of the vehicle, you've got this. So crazy. I love it. So yeah, if you prefer that typical style instead versus your N style, but if you want to walk through on how to actually use this, it's straightforward. Like as you hit the gas, this is going to go to the right. As you brake, you're going to start dropping down, and that's regenerative braking. From there, you can also link it to drive modes. So as you move between different drive modes, you can have it change out automatically. But I mean, that looks really cool. But let's say if you're a big fan of having that red sport mode, but you love the economy of the eco mode, you could then lock the cluster out to one of the other styles instead. So you'd still be in your eco mode instead, but you'd have the performance of, but you'd have the style, I should say, of that mode. Or link it to drive mode instead. Screensaver, so when you go to turn the display off, what happens? So if we do a push and hold there, so you can see there, that turns the display off. Oh, button press to bring it back on. You can have nothing show up. So same idea, we do a push and hold, and it just turns it off with nothing on the screen. You'd have the flexibility of adjusting any of these additional watch faces as well. So if you'd like the look of one or the other, you'd have the flexibility to do it. I know some people aren't crazy about having anything there. You can also do a split screen, and on the split screen, what shows up, and dragging and dropping, in which order does it show up. And moving back, display. You can adjust the brightness as well, so adjust the brightness of the screen this way. Automatic, it means that depending on how bright it is outside, it's automatically going to adjust the brightness of the screen. You've also, just by your left knee, got the flexibility of adjusting it this way as well. So there's the switch in order to go plus or minus in order to adjust it that way. Camera settings, display contents. So if we go into, oh, look at that, full 360 camera, absolutely love it. So I'm in reverse right now. So you've got your basic views. So you've got your backup view top, back, wide, or your split view, I should say, and then your wide view as well. And then the best part, I friggin' love that view. It's so cool. So as you, look at this, as you go to back up, drive, whatever the case may be, you can see what's going on around you. It is so cool. But yeah, do you want to get that park distance warning? So that beeping that you get as you get closer to obstacles? Do you want to have those lines, yay or nay? The lines are actually useful because as you go to rotate the wheel, you can see which direction you're facing as you go. Really straightforward, but it looks, I love that. Honestly, love that look. I love that swing out look so much. But you can adjust all of your different contents there. So what's actually showing up. Love it. And blue light filter. So later on at night, it's automatically, actually that's a useful one. So it's going to make it warmer or cooler. So it gets rid of all of the blue light just to make it easier on your eyes. You can have the vehicle determine when that comes on, or you can set it at a unique time instead. There are a series of unique buttons that are available. So there's one down the center stack there, and then there are also two on the steering wheel. So there's that button and then your mode button. But what do these ones do? So you've got your custom navigation button down there. Do you want it to go to phone projection? Do you want it to turn the display off, have nothing happen, etc.? So I've turned the display off. So if we hit it now, toggles the display off and back on. The steering wheel custom button. So this one here, what do you want that to do? Do you want to turn on the map, go to your EV mode, climate settings, etc.? So you can adjust this out. So it's on the home screen. So if I hit that, it would go to the home screen right now. The mode button, what do you want it to do? Jump between AM, FM, USB music, sounds of nature, whatever the case may be. So whatever sources you typically listen to, when you push that mode button on the steering wheel, that's going to let you jump between different sources. When you push the up-down button on the steering wheel, do you want to change the station or do you want to change the frequency instead? The volume tuning rocker. So this one down here, how do you want it adjusted? So by default, it's volume power. You can swap it out instead. So this one would be volume power, but that makes the most sense. The left N steering wheel button. So this one here. So this is specifically for the N versions of the Ioniq 5, but you've got two unique buttons. So the left one, what do you want it to do? N mode selection, go N active sound, launch control. Same idea. You can figure out what the right one does on top of that. Actually, you know what? Left one, mode selection. Yeah, that probably makes the most sense. And then having the NE shift is pretty neat. So you hit that. Oh, because I'm not driving. Yeah, but we can also do launch control there as well. But if you want to see launch control in action, find that down in the description of this video, along with all of the N specific features. And from there, head-up display and the cluster. So the cluster screen, you can adjust the brightness this way. I also mentioned just down by your left knee, you'd have that flexibility. Camera settings, blue light filter as well for the cluster screen specifically. And then all of the options for the head-up display. So do you want to enable or disable it? Hold on, let's see. Let's zoom in here a little bit. So do you want to enable or disable the head-up display? You can show the different contents that are available as well. So turn-by-turn directions, etc. Looks really good when you're driving. Do you want media showing up there, if media is playing, etc.? And then you can also adjust it. So you can adjust the brightness if you'd like to this way by doing a drag and drop. You can move it up or you can move it down as well. You can rotate it side to side. It's essentially making it easier for you to be able to see it. But I mean, the head-up display, very unobtrusive. I think it looks fantastic. And from there, Blue Link's available as well. Just make sure you download the app on your phone, whether that's Android or iPhones. And then you've got a boatload of general settings that are available as well. So you've got basic system information. Nothing overly exciting, but you can just hit update to see if there's anything available. Look at system information. Date and time, always just recommend setting it automatically, but you can set it manually if you want to. Do you want that 12-hour mode or 24-hour mode instead? This is grayed out because you have date and time automatic. The only time you're going to have it manually set is if you straddle a time zone. So if you're constantly flipping back and forward, you can lock it out yourself if you'd like to. You can change out the language to English, French, Spanish, or Korean. And these are going to be region specific. So if you're in a different part of the world, you're going to have different options available. Keyboard options, so do you want QWERTY, A, B, C, D? Measurement units is also a very useful one. So you can either go kilometers or miles, and that's going to adjust what's going on inside of the cluster screen. You can also adjust the temperature, which not only adjusts it in the cluster screen, but also down the center stack there as well. So Celsius versus Fahrenheit. When you're in miles, how do you want all of, or well, whether it's kilometers or miles, how do you want your energy consumption measured? Do you want your torque in NM or pound-feet instead? Media options, do you want your media turned off when you start the vehicle on? Or when you start the vehicle up, I should say. And then reset. So if you're selling your vehicle, you can delete the profiles in order to bring it back to the factory default instead. So that's pretty much everything. The other ones to point out are going to be all the buttons down the center there instead. So you've got your basic power button and your volume button. So you can push and hold there in order to toggle the screen off, toggle it back on, go back to your basic home screen, button press for your map, to search for an address. You could seek between stations this way. So if we go to this, you can see there. So it's jumping between all of your presets, or you can do a press and hold there instead to do a quick. Hop into your basic media, run back. You've got your star icon there, which we set up to turn the screen off. You can jump into setup, and then if you were in media, the outside one here is also going to let you tune instead. You've got all of your basic climate control settings here as well. You could pull up the climate screen, which gives you a series of other options. So you can turn on the heated steering wheel, heated ventilated seats, and these options are all just going to depend on which trim level of the vehicle that you're in. But you can adjust it this way if you want to, but you've also got all of your climate control settings that you can adjust down the middle there instead. But it gives you a few different options available. Sync is going to sync up the passenger side to whatever the driver's side set to. The only other one to point out is going to be the N mode. And this is obviously specifically for the N trim level of the vehicle. But the N mode gives you so many options. So you've got custom modes that are available, 2 different options. And when you're in the custom mode, whether that's custom 1 or 2, what do you want it to feel like? So you've got eco versus normal versus sport. Like N mode would 100% make it sense to go for sport for everything. How do you want your sound? How do you want your active sound design to go? Your head-up display, what do you want showing up? Your stability control as well. Do you want that turned off if you're going on the track? And things like that. So you can customize these and make them your own. Customize everything. I love it. You've got your G-force there as well. Push in to get a bigger view. You can activate launch control as well. Love it. Different performance options that are available. So you've got launch control, activate. You've got your E-shift that's available as well. So with the E-shift, that gives you more of like a traditional 8-speed automatic transmission feel. You can change the sound of the vehicle, precondition the vehicle. So if you're taking your vehicle on the drag strip or if you're doing a track, you want to make sure that you enable this as well. So it's going to take about 8 minutes in order to optimize the battery for drag use and for track use as well. And that's going to depend on how long the vehicle's been running for. N pedal gives you the option for regenerative braking, different levels. Drift Optimizer is essentially going to put you into rear-wheel drive and tweak out the electronic stability control. Big benefit there, if you're taking your vehicle on the track, it's going to let you drift a heck of a lot easier. There are different race modes that are available, torque distribution, and things like that. And swiping across the other way lets you turn on or off all of these options. You can also tweak the battery there as well. Look at your torque distribution. So with the torque distribution, you can have the majority of the torque going to the front wheels or the rear wheels instead. That's cool. Gives you a little tutorial. Right, you can have it going to the front or the rear wheels. Your acceleration and brake, what percentage are those getting used? Your lap timers and circuit timers and things like that. So cool. So if you're going through and you're taking this car on the track, you've got a boatload of other options. But that's everything you need to know about the infotainment system in the Hyundai Ioniq 5.